Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first AFL Tribunal stream here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. Tonight, there's only one matter that is going to be before the AFL Tribunal. The matter will start at 5 p.m. It's only Will Hayward. So you'd think that this would be done in about an hour, right? Like an hour and a half tops. And we're going to follow every update. That's what we're going to do. I am planning to have a pretty content-filled night tonight. The idea is this starts at 4:50, 5 p.m. The idea is then Footy Abroad will happen at 7 p.m. And then the idea is that at 8:30 p.m., I am going to be on the selection table on the Pommy and Oz YouTube channel. That's the idea. That's the idea. Naturally, with these tribunal streams, they tend to go on for a while, especially the Carlton ones. Seems pretty straightforward what we're trying to do tonight. We're trying to change the grading from intentional to careless. I'm going to play the footage shortly. And this should be over before we know it. That's basically how I think this runs tonight. And then we can go on with our nights as we usually do on a Tuesday, and we'll go from there. So very much a relaxed, casual setting. We will just follow the updates. I've got David Zeta's X account up on my second screen here, and we'll go from there. But how are you all? Who was first? It was Gokhan. Hello, mate. Rocco, yeah, look, mate, I know you said, yeah, you're going to hang around. If anybody doesn't want to hang around for the tribunal stream and you want to come back for like the Footy Abroad or if you want to tune into Selection Table, be my guest. I'll be here. No one needs to join. Jonathan Tedelato, hello. Wayne, hello. Hello, Kate. Kate, you think he's going to get off? It was pretty soft. I thought it was on the soft side as well. I've got a poll up on the YouTube stream just to get your thoughts. So if you just joined and you see the poll, let me know. Do you think that the suspension will be upheld or overturned? Right now, I mean, there's only 21 votes, but right now it's almost 50-50. I think this gets downgraded. I think that we can prove that this is downgraded. I think it was, I mean, first of all, I don't even believe it was medium impact. I believe it was the lowest of impact. I thought Wardlaw put a bit on it, which you would if you're him, to get the free kick. But we'll see. It was a silly act regardless, but we'll see. Hello, Matt Lang. Rocco, he should go for the ball that hard. Yeah, you could tell he was very frustrated with his game and with how everything was playing out. Hello, Matt. Hello again. Hello, Graziella. Yeah, also, if anybody wants to join, you can call in at any time. You can sit with me while we follow the updates, or you can pop in, pop out, whatever you'd like to do. We've also got a Marco Voss press conference that we can tune into in between breaks. Matt, you think it'll be upheld, but for banter, overturned and dropped anyway for a poor game. There is that. Well, Flynn Young could be coming back in this week. He could play his first game of 2026. Do you think they'd actually do that? Do you think that they would actually... Nah. I think Will Hayward's too important for Carlton to have any chance of winning this week. It would be funny, though. It's a new experience for the City boys to play on the side. So bad, got to give them a break. Yeah. Crossy, one thing's for sure, the Carlton lawyers are always best on ground. That's true. Yeah. Wayne, I don't think this is a 5-hour situation. I don't think, but you never know. Fermi, good to see you. Clive, where's the wheel? I'll make a deal. If Will Hayward and his suspension is overturned tonight, I will spin the wheel on this stream. There's your deal. And I will give away only to those who are tuning in to this stream. How about that? I might make a quick Google form, but I will give away a copy of the Champions of Carlton book if Will Hayward's suspension is overturned tonight. Deal? Deal. Damien, hello to you. You think he's going to get off? I think he will get off. I think it'll be overturned. Joseph L. Mualem, get ready for a 5-hour watch along. There's just no way. This is an hour job, max. There's just no way. Hello, Dione. You think it'll get downgraded, but honestly, he should be dropped for Flynn Young. Make a statement. Yeah. Giggity Gamey. Great giggity it. Love your work. Yes, I'm pretty confident that I will be around for the selection table tonight. I've been on it a couple of times. It's great fun. Dione, check out his heat map comparison tears from when he played at the Swans to us now. Yes, very different. Very different role. Rocco, you watched the Two Guys One Cup podcast earlier. Yes. So, well, that was my first question. We've got about 5 minutes before the tribunal starts. So I went on the Two Guys One Cup podcast with Charlie and Will. Will wasn't there today. I don't think he's going to be there for this season or for the short term. And we were talking about a number of different things on the podcast. And he was, we were sort of talking about the identity, and the conversation sort of went from, I really like what the D's have done with their identity. They've sort of like owned who they are, what they are. They've sort of taken the piss out of themselves with the whole wine drinking, cheese platter eating people that they are, right? And the snow season, you saw it in their season 2026 campaign video. And so I was talking about, what would Carlton's version of that be? What is the Carlton identity? Like, really? I've put the question on a few different platforms, on Instagram and on X, but I guess I'll ask you right now. Define the Carlton identity in your view. So obviously it depends when you're born. But today you have one question. And to be honest, so far everyone has answered it. Hasn't really given me a straight answer, but like, what is the identity / culture of our club? Like, what is it? Yes. 10 minutes into the pod. Yeah, it's on audio. It's also on YouTube as well. It's you can just type in Two Guys One Cup. Rocco, Hayward's not that important all over in 10 minutes. See, I disagree. I know that he didn't have a good game, but I do think he is important for the team structure, for sure. Obviously, you want him to hit the scoreboard more, but I completely disagree that he's not important, especially with the state of the team right now. Dione, you're on the way to Melbourne. Fantastic. How long are you here for? Which games are you here for, basically? Saucy, regardless of the outcome, do you think we're getting the most value? No, obviously not. Like, we're not getting the best out of him so far. It hasn't clicked yet. I don't think he's settled. It's taken a while for all of them. I think Ben Ainsworth and Hayward work very hard. I think Ainsworth's had 2 games where he's sort of stood out and got some reward. Hayward's been okay in moments, but he's not see, I don't look at Hayward as a star player. He's a guy that kicked 41 goals in a season, playing his role a lot more deeper. He's doing something different here at Carlton. So, yeah. Oh, here it is. Christian Perry, you smell the upset against the Crows. I'm here for an upset against the Crows. I would love nothing more than an upset against the Adelaide Crows on Thursday. It would be ridiculous. Also, when I watched the replay again today for the 3rd time, no emotion. So the emotion of round 4 is done. Fan cams are done. The rating show is done, and the Monday show is done. So I watched it again today. Were we really that bad for the whole second half? I thought we got really unlucky in the fourth quarter and undid a lot of good work. I reckon it was even less than the last 20 minutes. I made the comment in my review that it was the last 20 minutes that we sort of let it slip. I think it was more like the last 8 minutes that we undid all the work. Didn't play very well in the first half, but was still leading. So maybe didn't capitalize and didn't have put enough scoreboard pressure on, all of these things, but actually did a lot more right than what I initially saw, especially on Friday. All right, so back to the question. What's the identity? Chaotic, either hyped or traumatized. Emotional roller coaster. Yeah. Wayne, a shadow of what it once was, now defeatist. So we were talking about it with Charlie around if Carlton was to make a similar video for their like season launch, call it season campaign video. I was sort of picturing it with Charlie, and we started getting quite excited about it because I would picture you'd have like a table sitting, you can talk about Lygon Street, whatever, and on the one side of the table you'd have people who were born in the glory years and lived through the glory years, and then you have people on the other end who were born basically in the 90s and 2000s who don't remember any of it. And then on the one hand, you know the call them the wise heads would be like, oh, how good's this? We're on Lygon Street. And then on the other side of the table, you have like these young people be like, I don't even know where this place is. Like, what is this place? And then you'd sort of have this conversation back and forth. Oh, you know, back in the day, we were great. You know, you just knew the premiership quarter. Didn't matter what happened after halftime, before halftime. You just knew the Blues were going to win. And then you'd have this really confused look on the face of the younger person on the other end of the table being like, what are you talking about? And I think that is the identity right now. We can talk about what it was. You can talk about what it is. Jonathan, close enough is good enough. That's our identity. Okay. Frankie, the identity today, a proud club trying to find its way in the modern era. I like that. Fermi, a mafioso identity. Rocco, we were the white collar, Collingwood were the blue collar back in the day. We were known as the Silvertails, the rich club. But before we became the rich club, what was that built off? We weren't always the rich club, right? Dione, you're going to be at the Collingwood game and also the open training this weekend. Fantastic. Injury report. All right, let's have a look. 5 p.m. So that means a fresh injury report. Let's take a look. Okay. Basically, Jacob Wiedering and Cooper Lord looking to return next week in round 6. But I can share my screen here with you all. Zach Williams trained fully this week and is available for selection. Jacob Wiedering in the concussion protocols, entered concussion protocols following Friday's game and will be unavailable for selection this week. That's fine. He'll be available for the Collingwood game as long as he gets through okay. Cooper Lord with the staph infection. He's back into full training. He'll be available next week against Collingwood. He has returned to full training and is expected to be available to play next week. That's it. Well, so is Harry Dean. So Harry Dean, Cooper Lord, Jacob Wiedering all could play in round 6. And in theory, Matt Duffy could as well. He's also in concussion protocols. It's not the worst injury list by numbers. Wiedering's a very valuable player, but it's not terrible. So that's that. Slobbo. Terry, I saw you at KFC last week. Did you? It's news to me. All right. We're just waiting here for David Zeta to start his updates. Okay. Oh. And and the mess and the fuckery begins. So Will Hayward is fronting the AFL Tribunal, contesting a striking charge. The first update is they are late. There is either an issue with the stream or they have not started because all I am seeing is a blank screen. Wait, so Zeta's not even there? They had not started. They have now started. Okay. So things are beginning as we speak. I'll have updates as we go throughout the night. Joseph, I think just give Hayward a bit of time. I can see him being a really important role player for us. I agree. Yeah. Hasn't started well. It'll eventually, he'll get more comfortable as it goes on, no doubt. Chichio, Adelaide will kill us 90 plus. Fair. Christian, I might not agree. We have changed coach too many times. That's not the solution. The problem are the players. The players don't want to play. We are the definition of insanity. Well, I agree on that part. We are the definition of insane. Definitely, I can't argue that one. Hello, Ari. We are so back. Yes, we are absolutely back. We have started. David Zeta has started with his updates. We will get through all the arguments, the AFL's argument, Carlton's argument. We'll see what we're going to do. Also, I just want to show this bit here. I don't know if you guys have seen it. So Finn O'Sullivan has a suspected broken jaw. And it just so happens that there is a piece of footage with Will Hayward where I guess they were trying to look for what the cause of the broken jaw was. So just look at this. This footage here actually, I think, clears Will Hayward of anything. Because you can see here, there's like, he hits him, fair bump, shoulder to shoulder, no issue there. He has not hit Finn O'Sullivan's head. And it's hard to tell whether or not, I mean, there's a bit of whiplash there. I haven't seen the latest update as to whether that is exactly what caused the broken jaw. But Will Hayward was cleared from this contest. So this is a separate issue from the game, but he's in the clear. Anyway. Graziella. Carlton identity today is confused. Yeah, so if you've just joined, I've asked the question, and I'm really curious about this. What is your definition of the Carlton identity / culture? What is it? What is it in your view? Also, feel free at any time to call in. We shouldn't be here for too long, but in case we are, and you want to call in, please do. The Carlton Football Club, we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas. Slobbo, your question is, why in the 10 minutes to go in the last quarter do they start chipping it around like they are trying to save the game? That has to be coaching. Yeah. The only upset on the cards is us crying because we blew a 40-point lead, halftime margin. I doubt we'd be able to get up by 40 against the Crows away. All right. So Will Hayward has pleaded not guilty to the charge. They say impact should be graded as low, conduct should be characterized as careless, and that if it remains intentional, it isn't appropriate to upgrade this to medium impact. Interesting. Okay, so what do we take from that? There's a few elements to this. Let me just. Tez, all the club has to do to make all the right decisions and we will be good. Yeah, I didn't quite get it. I didn't answer. I mean, it's fine. If anything, it does answer the question because there is an unknown. I think that's the point of me asking the question. No one's been able to really identify it. Loyal and optimistic. Okay. Dominator, we were never that rich club until Harrison Elliott in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. Hello, Pommy. No Lord for illness. Pop an ibuprofen, some Salvon, and you'll be right. Reminds me when Tom took 2 weeks off at work for a rabbit dying and his misso was too upset. Hello, Joel. There's a line from Joel. That's a line from Joel. Agree. Carlton still need to sort their shit out. Yes, Joel. Yes, we do. So I'm just going to post this. Where are we? Latest update. Scroll across. That's the latest update right there. We have a friend, Andy.
G'day, g'day.
Mate, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
No problems.
What was your initial reaction to when you saw the suspension?
It was barely a free kick. So I remember when he did it and I was like, that was just stupid. And you can just see, I think it's frustration building, but he didn't like concuss anyone. It was just a stupid, gut punch, but barely warranted. And it happened during the play. So if he was just knocking a guy off the ball, maybe there was more grounds, but, they did say they're going to try and stamp out that stupid type of behavior, but it was sort of during, just after the play, or it was a bit late. I don't know. It just seems like they're trying to keep people employed at the AFL to do these things. So,
well, it's the only matter tonight before the tribunal. So yeah, maybe. I mean, I just thought it was a downfield free kick, but at the same time, they did come out and say they wanted to get rid of, like the gut punch. I don't know. It's soft, but it's also you put yourself in a situation where they can get you for it.
The thing that'll get him off will be terminology. Like that's how we get off these things is, the gradings and the terminology in it. And, like you're an ex-lawyer, aren't you, Terry? Like you're in the litigation field. So yeah, you got to word things correctly, and that's how we've been able to get off other things. It's you get the AFL on how they come to that conclusion with the wording, and which just makes it so stupid at the end of it. So it seems like a massive waste of time, number one, for suspending him, but number two, how they'll get him off. If he gets off, it'll just be like, why did we go through all of that? So, and then essentially, if he gets off as well, then other clubs use that as grounds for, oh, well, you shouldn't suspend my player because you let Hayward off. So, yeah, it just furthers the stupidity of the MRO and the scrutiny around the way he got suspended.
Well, you're not wrong in interpretation and wording. So Samson Ryan got the week, but this was like a stationary passage of play. He was walking and he decided to throw, I think it was an elbow. This one was a bit different because you could make the case that Hayward was trying to make a not necessarily a play on the ball, but he was trying to put pressure on the player kicking, which is McKercher. So there, again, I feel like we might be going down a rabbit hole here with that. But even just seeing this update here, I mean, Will Hayward's giving evidence now. So he's pleaded not guilty to the charge, which is intentionally striking, and that. So there's element number one. Element number two, the impact should be graded as low instead of medium. The conduct should be characterized as careless. There's element two. Yeah. And that if it does remain intentional, it isn't appropriate to upgrade this to medium impact. So that last sentence there is basically, we actually might be going for a little while because the AFL might come out and say, no, we don't agree that it wasn't careless. We don't agree that it was careless. We think it was intentional. And then it looks like we're going to be arguing, okay, fine, if it is intentional, don't keep it as medium impact. Medium impact is a default grading for impact when they go to tribunal.
There's just so many points, again, yeah. The big thing is like the other thing that they always talk about is if this happened in a prelim final, would he have been reported for the granny? Like, would he lose a week?
Good point. And very good point.
And it's, it's obviously the start of the season. They're always really hot on things that they've said in the off season or changes that they've made in the off season. And it's like, well, again, I don't even remember. Did he go down? Did he go down like a sack of potatoes after it happened? Did he put a bit of mayo on it?
Yeah, but like as you would if you're the player to get the free
Yeah.
kick, and it was a 50-meter penalty, I think, from memory, or downfield.
But I think it makes a difference, like how much mayonnaise a player. Now, if I got punched in the stomach, I'm probably going to go down like a sack of spuds, especially, Hayward, like he's solid. But yeah, I think if he doesn't even flinch and he just gets on with it, I think that makes a difference as well with the impact part of the argument. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's, I said in one of the comments the other day, like, how he's started his career with us has been pretty lackluster, and he probably needs a week off regardless. But this isn't the way you kind of want it to go. Not him being suspended. You kind of want him dropped. So I don't know.
Wait, would you drop him if he wasn't suspended?
Yeah, look, after the Melbourne game, the way he kicked into the forward line was just like directly kicking it to opposition, and then this game he was barely sighted, giving away 50-meter free kicks, multiple, not once but twice, out of frustration. It's sort of like, well, we've brought you in here to be somewhat of a senior player and a leader, unofficial leader, and so far you've under-delivered. It's, how many games have we played? 3, 4? My argument with coaching is, when do you make an example after poor performance? So if you're a player and you've played so many games and you've been very average, how many games do you get where you go, all right, well, we've got another guy, and Flynn Young's the best example here. We've got another guy, plays a similar role, he's a half forward. When do you make that change? You got another guy performing in the twos, which is what the twos should be for. When do you make that change? 5 games, 10 games, 15 games? Is it the player's name? Is it we just brought him in, it's a new system? Like, as a coach, when do you uphold the standard on selection? Now, Voss, my biggest criticism, that's his biggest criticism, is his structure and his selection integrity. So, he's fighting for his survival. When do you make a change where you go, no, you're dropped, you're coming in because you're playing better in that role, even if it's in a lower competition, this is the standards we accept. So, yeah, if it was me, I'd be dropping him this week. I'd be like, nah, silly, undisciplined reacts. If you don't get near the ball, that could be work rate. But if you're giving goals to the opposition by discipline, that's something that is controllable. Now, you didn't do it once, you did it twice. You had minimal impact on the game. You've been cited for a stupid offence. I'm going to give you the week. So if he gets off, I'm going to give you the week off. But they're probably going, nah. They'll get him off because this is a bullshit. This is a bullshit, like, reportable offence. I reckon they'll get him off. But then if you're trying to get him off, then he's playing against the Crows. Why else would you take him?
I think he was frustrated in the game and tried to show aggression, and he's just obviously just overstepped. There were a few, not just him, like late in the fourth quarter. I don't know. Do you think we showed improvement from the week before? So from the Melbourne game to the North Melbourne game, did you think we showed improvement from what you wanted to see to what you did see?
It's hard to. I've only watched the game once. I couldn't take myself to watch it again. It was just a really ugly, shitty game to me. It was a really hard watch. The thing that I'll say is, and I don't know if this is a feature of Carlton or North Melbourne, it was a more Carlton game, tight, contested, scrappy for pretty much the whole game. Now, did Carlton make that happen, or did North Melbourne allow them to do it because they're average? So that was the only change. Melbourne, they opened us up. North Melbourne, they kept it tight and contested, which that's a feature. That's what Carlton want, because that's the only method that we have to win. So, I don't know. I don't know if improvement's the word. Like, they kept it closer. I don't know. I didn't walk away with too many positive things to say after the game, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I was the same on the Friday. It wasn't until I properly watched it today, now that all the emotion's gone. I thought we were better for longer, even though we still gave it away.
Maybe.
And I thought that the second half, I mean, I think we kicked more goals in the second half this week than the entire combined second halves for the previous 3 games.
Well, that's something.
But we still did concede a lot of goals. You there? Oh, I reckon he's getting a call. Andy?
Sorry, I just lost it for a second. Yeah.
No worries. Just want to give the update here. Will Hayward submission here. My intention was to close the space and apply pressure to the opposition to disrupt the kick. It was no different to any tackle or movement I've done before or felt before. I've got a feeling, I don't know if it's going to come up in this session, but this is giving me some deja vu of the Harry Mackay Tribunal stream that we did with the kicking action interference technique. Do you remember that?
No.
So in the Good Friday game a few years ago, I think it was, Harry Mackay went to put a late, we'll call it a pressure on Harry Sheasel, and I think he might have got him a little high.
Yeah. I remember. I was at that game, yeah.
So the KAIT was born, Kate, kicking action interference technique. I've got a feeling we're about to see that again. What? You there?
I've lost you now.
You with me? Andy? Oh boy. Hang on. Are you there, mate? Hello? Hello?
Baby, come back.
Come back.
Baby, come back.
Okay, latest update. Latest update is these are the submissions that are being made right now. So I don't know if this will look good on the bottom of your screen. Hayward is asked if Wardlaw was in a vulnerable position. Hayward, I would say you're in that position many times during the game. The AFL have then returned serve and said, does that mean you're in a vulnerable position? And Hayward said, I suppose, yeah. Okay. The plot thickens slowly but surely. Mad Dog. Hello, mate. Call me silly, but I don't think we're far off being a good side. People tend to look at the bad instead of the good. Yeah, I think the chronic frustration kicks in with us, no doubt about it. Andy, no worries. You can come back in whenever you like. Anybody can come back in whenever they like. I'll put the link in the chat. Just click it, share your thoughts, bring up anything you like. You there, Andy?
Sorry, I was getting multiple phone calls, and every time it did, it sort of logged me out of the volume. So, while we're waiting for the update, he's been lucky. I think it was a Sydney game. There was a few instances where he was throwing his arms around as well. Now he didn't get cited, did he? He didn't get fined, or did he?
I don't know. Someone asked me earlier what his history is like. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because that definitely plays a part. But he's been aggro since he's got there. He's probably copping shit left, right, and center, and he's getting the emotion out on the field.
Yeah, well, I think he hasn't been able to impact. He hasn't been able to hit the scoreboard consistently. He's trying to impact. How do you do that? You apply pressure. He might have just gone a bit overboard. I think it's really just as simple as that.
In a nutshell, do you think it's him, new team, or structure and format of what his role was meant to be now?
Oh, it's a bit of both. I mean, it's a totally different role. Clearly, it's a totally different. I mean, yeah, totally different ecosystem that he's in, different role. He definitely would be putting some sort of pressure on himself to perform and, add to the team and play well. It's not happening. He's not able to find his feet. And the frustration's boiling over. I don't think he's alone.
I was talking with someone today just about, our selections in the midfield, which is ultimately in the second halves have been unravelling us. We're just playing all our biggest, slowest, lack of creativity players in the midfield, which is what our midfield is built on. But do we give him minutes in there? Like, he's not the fastest player, but he's pretty tough. Like, he can hunt people. Like, he's a great tackler. That was one of the things that when he played for Sydney, I loved. He would just sniper guys. He would just run and attack them. And next minute, it's holding the ball.
Maybe.
To get him in the mid.
Could be. Like, maybe. When I thought of him and Ben Ainsworth coming, I thought this is going to help the link between midfield and forward. That's what I thought at the end of the day. So, Gorkan's gone through the archives. He said that he was cited once in 2023 against North Melbourne, but it was cleared by the MRO.
Okay,
I'm going to bring in somebody else here who's in the waiting room. Matt. Hello, Matt.
Terry, how you going, mate?
Good. Matt. Andy, Matt.
Andy.
G'day, boss. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Mate, welcome to the stream.
No, thanks. I usually want to call in after games, but I'm always doing something. Though I never get a chance to call in, but always listening.
I appreciate it. What have you made? How have you made of? What have you made of the season so far? Have you seen anything that resembles improvement, or how are you feeling?
I think the frustrating thing is that we've seen like some minor improvement, but not for long enough, and it seems to be only early in the game when there's no pressure. And if you've listened to a lot of the language that came out even before the season started, I think Voss mentioned it once, Cripps mentioned it once, that it's not going to be like the version of us is not going to the version that we're going to see of us early is not going to be as good as it is later in the season. But that's, I think, like the manner in which we've lost the games has been the most frustrating part. So like you can cop that they're trying to implement new things, but like when you're in those positions, you've got to be able to see it out. And I think that's the worst part of it. I don't think the football's actually been that bad at times. It's just that when the pressures come, they've kind of just not collapsed, but they've just gone into their shell, and you can see it so obvious. Like the last quarter against North, and then the last 15 minutes against Melbourne in particular.
Do you think, or both of you, and anyone in the chat as well, do you think it's partly because of the opponents that we played? Like, we went in as favourites the last few games, or the last three, and then Adelaide won't be the same.
Well, I see. I could kind of cop us being great against Sydney and even against Richmond, just because of like all the pressure and like the media attention around those two games. I never felt comfortable with either of those games, and particularly the Richmond one after the manner in which we lost to Sydney, and because of Voss likes to say we're stepping into the new, but Wiedering even mentioned it himself. Like the Richmond game from last season was definitely haunting them. So I never expected us to be great in the first 2 weeks, but then after the bye, I was expecting us to be mentally a bit more free. And then when we saw the same habits kind of resurfacing against the D's in the second half, and then again against North, I think it was a bit inexcusable. But it's funny that you asked that, because like the first 2 weeks, I wasn't expecting us to be great at all. But then because I know how mentally fragile we can be at times. So I knew that those first two were going to be quite rough. But then, the way in which we kind of collapsed against Melbourne and right at the end against North was a bit inexcusable. So I was willing to give them some benefit of the doubt, but then after the last 2 weeks, it's a bit hard to kind of excuse any of it.
Yeah, it's gut wrenching. It's gut wrenching to watch, because I think we all know that we're not going to be a contender this year, so
That's
wins aren't going to come easily. So when you let 2 wins slip away that you had in
Yeah.
control, I think it just maybe. Do you think it blur? Andy, do you reckon it blurs the way we watch the games because of how much we really just threw them like 2 wins away?
The perception of the fan base seems to be that nothing is good enough now. So even when they win, like the Richmond game, it was sort of just tarnished by how they play. As a fan, you know, you're promised. I mean, I'll say it, we're promised. We're promised that we're going to play different, and we haven't played different. We have played the same as we have in patches, 5-10 minute patches. We can move the ball quickly, but realistically, we did that in 2023, 2024, and 2025. So, you know, taking, you know, a couple of things that you've said against like the expectations of the teams we're playing, I'm worried because we've played outside of Sydney, we've played bottom 6 teams. And now our run of Adelaide, Collingwood, Brisbane, Western Bulldogs, like you wait till we play those teams because they're going to put us to the sword. At the risk of sounding negative, I don't think the expectation of playing and expecting to win against these low-level teams has been our issue. I think that the game has changed for all clubs. Some clubs have adjusted to it and other clubs haven't. The teams that aren't winning at the moment are the teams that are slower to adjust, either by list or by game plan. So, yeah, I wouldn't be taking anything away from this weekend, but I'm telling you, like, I've been to every time they play at Adelaide Oval, Carlton, and there is something in their psyche that when they come here, they play poor. They are switched off. Doesn't matter how poor Adelaide's midfield is, they make our midfield look second rate. So, yeah, I'm really worried about this weekend. I couldn't get a ticket for Thursday night. I just couldn't do it to myself again. I've seen too many 10-goal thrashings lose the same way, and I'm like, you know what? I'll scream in the comfort of my own home this week. So,
what about we play Port again in Adelaide Oval?
I'll probably go to that game.
Yeah, we're definitely more of a chance in that one.
Yeah, they play different. I don't know if it's the colours of Adelaide's Guernsey or what it is, but they always come out and look just like they've never played a game of footy. So, you know, and Adelaide's going through some really pain at the moment. And you know what the best fix for that is? Playing Carlton. People always get up against the Blues. They always use us as a way to pump themselves up. So, you know, again, I don't want to be negative, guys. I don't want to be that guy, but it's just, I've seen it so many times. And, you know, hearing Vossi's presser today, it's like, what moves now can he make to turn the season around or to get players' confidence up? And yeah, it's just it's a challenging week. It's going to be a challenging week this week for him.
Mate, it's going to be a really tough one. When I was thinking pre-season about interstate trips this year, like I was always going open around just because I just had to see it. I had to see him. I had to look. I had to be there for it. I had the choice of the 2 Adelaide games, so I've never been to a gather round. Not that I don't like it. I just haven't been to one. But
get over here, Tez. Get around it.
No, thanks. Not this time. Maybe next year.
Last year was the time to go.
I picked the other one. I picked the Port Adelaide game. So I'll be in Adelaide for that game. Yeah. And I'll be in Perth for the Freo game. And then I may or may not go to Sydney for the other GWS game. I need to atone for my sins, that GWS game.
Just with just talking about the end of last week's game, right? You know, the game's over and then they start taking it on. Like as a coach, as a fan base, I'll chuck this out to both of you. If we played run and gun football from the word go and we got beaten by 10 goals, or if we played slow, methodical, predictable Carlton footy and we lose by 10 goals, which one would you prefer, if any, or would you say both are shit?
I think it's a very basic question. Like, which team plays run and gun for 4 quarters?
You know, Well, let's say the majority of the game. We play it for maybe 15 minutes of quarter one, kick 7 goals, and then the rest of the time we're held in our back line and can't move it. Because, like, the big thing for me is I don't care if we lose. It's showing, development in our game style, which is what was the big hype of the summer. We're getting all these players in. Yeah, we've lost some talent, but we're going to move the ball. So if we lose to Adelaide by 5 or 6 goals, let's say, but we're taking it on and we're taking it to them, as a fan, you'll cop that because you can see progression. But at the moment, we're 4 games in and we haven't really seen anything. We seem to be going backwards. So, like, as a coach, like, Voss goes, well, guys, we're in a shit position. Wiedering's out. We're playing garbage. You guys have no confidence. Fucking just play like there's 5 minutes left the whole game. And if we get scored against, stiff shit. You never know. Like, what could happen? Adelaide won't expect that. They'll expect us to be our usual safe, secure selves. So just take the game on from the word go to the word end. And if you lose, you lose. Like, I really don't think that there's, we talk about expectations all the time, but they should be expecting, well, we can't get any worse. Let's try something.
I think we're not quite at the stage with our list profile where we can say, oh, as long as we see progression in what we're like the game style that we're trying to play, and we cop a 10-goal loss, that's like acceptable. I think like with the profile of our list, we're not actually at that stage. So to answer your original question, I think a 10-goal loss either way, no matter how it looks, is not like by the fan base is not going to be accepted.
Yeah, of course.
But like with the media, you might get a bit more a bit like Voss, for example, might get a bit more leeway because he's actually trying to change something. But I actually think like if your head coach is changing, trying to change your philosophy 5 years in, then it probably tells you that his philosophy and him as a head coach wasn't right to begin with. I just feel like it's a bit like it's a bit of a mess, like the whole situation.
I think that's clear to see. The big comparison is just like watching Melbourne play. Kings come in for one pre-season, gotten rid of some generational players for their club, and like look how they're playing. Look how they played on the weekend against a really good outfit in Gold Coast. It's just like, could that have happened with the Blues? Could we have done that? Maybe, maybe not. But
we did when we brought Boston. We did go 8-2. So I'm not getting sucked in by the D's yet.
Look, I full respect to the D's. Love what they did. Yeah. Like, love the wins. They're playing well, but I completely agree. Right now at the end of round 4, start of round 5, it looks like, oh my God, the D's.
Yeah.
But let's see what this looks like at the end, because we were there. We were literally right there.
Yeah, I think it definitely moves on quick though, and I think where it's going, that's the worry for us. But yeah, hopefully we can do something. Looks like the AFL's just looking at your little notes before the AFL saying there was no reason to do what he did. It didn't do anything for the game of football. So there was
I'll just read these updates. So we got the previous update. Hayward was asked if he believed that Wardlaw was in a vulnerable position. Hayward said, I would say that you're in that position many times during the game. And the AFL's responded, does that mean that you're in a vulnerable position? He said, I suppose, yeah. And then Chris Townsend, who is on the board of Carlton, he's the one representing Will Hayward tonight, not Peter O'Farrell. But the AFL, who was represented by Sam Bird, has made a submission here that there was no legitimate football purpose at that point to making contact. What? Hayward, I can't see at the time of impact whether the ball has left his boot or not. During the time of contact, my intention was to disrupt the kick and put pressure on. All right, maybe this will be a 3-4 hour banger.
Oh, they're gonna just go at it. It's like you're defending murder, like he's playing footy. He saw the guy, he gave him a whack, tried to stop him. It was probably late. that's it. Like drilling him. This is the other thing, like if you've ever been questioned by a person and you've practiced being questioned, and especially in a professional sense, some people can answer really fluently and confidently, and other people fall to pieces. So his responses, then they can dance around those responses and make him look like he's guilty, even if he's not. That's the other thing. Obviously, we've got a lawyer in there, but his responses will tell a tale as well. So,
I'll paint the picture.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, guys, I've got to love you and leave you.
No worries, mate.
Yeah,
See you, Andy.
we'll speak to you guys later. Good luck, Hayward.
Yeah, Andy.
See you, mate.
See you, mate. I've got a feeling. Wait, Matt, are you sticking around or are you heading off as well?
I can stay for a little bit longer, yeah.
Yeah, I was
5
just saying,
minutes,
I've got a feeling. I don't know why. Like the stitch up for Andy, who lives in Adelaide, the stitch up of not going to this game.
Yeah.
And that's the lure of not going. What if it's this one? What if
Yeah.
this is the one that they do it?
I always go through that cycle. So every week, in my own head, I'll write us off. I'm like, I'm not tipping us again. And then the further away you get from the week before, the week that just passed, and the closer you get to the week before, you start having those kind of positive thoughts come back through. But
yeah, it's the what if I miss out being there when it turns?
Yeah.
And one time it came true, which was 2023.
Yeah.
I had no reason to go to that Gold Coast game. No reason whatsoever, other than what if it's the day? And one day is the day, and that was the day.
Yeah, I was there at that game as well. And the first quarter was horrendous, and because there wasn't that many Blues fans there, it kind of, and obviously there was no Gold Coast fans there. It kind of just felt like I was at a VFL game. And then when it did turn, and the boys got the standing ovation at halftime, I was thinking, and obviously in hindsight, I was like, I'm glad I was there for that one.
Yeah. Well, the AFL have made a submission here. They say that a blow delivered to a vulnerable, unprepared player carries a greater capacity for harm than the same blow delivered to a player who's braced and prepared for it. This is a great spot for Carlton. How can you argue that a player who is kicking a football with a player within his vicinity is not prepared for any contact? Shouldn't every player know that they are at any point during kicking a ball at the risk of having pressure applied to them? That's a really interesting angle there from the AFL.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't think Hayward particularly came from a blind side of. It was Wardlaw, wasn't it?
It was Wardlaw. Yeah, I'm going to get the footage up.
It didn't. It came from side on. I don't think it was necessarily a swing, was it? It was more like, I don't think he swung his fist at him. I think he was just kind of trying to use the length of his body to, put as much pressure as possible. But then because of the way that Wardlaw's body kind of went into Hayward's chest, it's kind of like made that swinging action. But it always looks worse in slow motion.
I'm just looking at it now. It's not even from a free kick. It was in general play. Like, how is George Wardlaw not going to be prepared for any form of pressure being applied to him when Will Hayward's right there? Like, okay, it's going to go through the slow motion here. Okay. Umpire's right there. I just want to see if there's a closed fist. Okay, that's a forearm. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's not a tough punch.
And it like you can see there's no swing from Hayward. It looks like he's just trying to use his arm to put the pressure on, and then because of the way Wardlaw's momentum kind of carries him into Hayward's arm, it makes it look like he's like swung and kind of gone for his gut. But I don't know.
You can see here the first thing he takes is his arm.
Yeah. Oh, it's very soft. I don't even think that's a free kick.
Look at the theatrics. Oh.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that didn't help him out as well. Couldn't wait to flop.
Interesting. Okay. I'm now glad that we are at the tribunal. That's the point of impact right there.
I don't see that as a swing.
No, I don't see that as what they're trying to.
Mm.
I get what they're trying to stamp out of the game. I don't think this is it.
It's just a closed fist that they probably don't like. But like
Yeah.
that, just because it's a closed fist doesn't mean it, like it's a gut punch. Like the Jonty Fall one, for example, on Wiedering. Obviously that's off the ball, but that's a clear, like he's clearly swung at him.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like a swing.
Yeah. Very interesting. Mate.
Yep.
I'll ask you the question.
Oh, go on.
What's the identity / culture of the Carlton Football Club?
What's the identity / what was the second part of that?
The identity / culture of our club.
You can only speak to it as a fan, or I can only speak to it as a fan. What goes on inside the four walls, and above them, we really have no idea. And we like to think that they're all harmonious and on the same page, but it's become pretty obvious that the last couple of years wasn't like that, particularly last year. But I think a lot of our identity is obviously based off our history too. So, but that's a hard question to answer, to be honest.
Yeah, no.
So a lot of it's.
I think in there is the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that question. I did see your post about it earlier today, but I honestly couldn't answer it.
Yeah, because Charlie today in the podcast was saying that what he's found watching, that he's a St Kilda man, but watching this channel is how much he relates to what Carlton fans are saying about our club to what he's been saying about his club. And I'm like, yeah, it's interesting because the generation before me don't identify with the way I think about things because their experience is different. Just a latest update. Also, Reese is here. I'm going to bring him up shortly. So Sam Bird, not Sue Bird, WNBA legend. Sam Bird says that Hayward's clenched fist indicates a deliberate and intentional strike. Reese, I see you. Hello, friend.
Hey, Taz. How's it going?
Very good. Reese, this is Matt. Matt, this is Reese.
Hey, Matt. How's it going?
So I can't hear Reese. Can you hear me, Tess?
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't hear you.
Reese, mate, what's on your mind? How you doing?
Yeah, good. I guess, tonight will be interesting. I think, unfortunately, he will get done. I think, our lawyers will pull their magic, but I think, unfortunately, that action is something they are definitely trying to stamp out, and I think it'll be hard to bring it down to careless, but I do think it is a little bit of a silver lining, as people have said. The way Hayward has played the first, 4 weeks has been less than stellar based on what we were expecting to bring in to the club. I don't think it's fully his fault. I think, we've talked about the heat maps. I think a lot of our sports media and sports just kind of get stuck in that dead zone for long stretches of the game. So maybe some time off might help him. And I think it's a perfect opportunity for Young to come in and really back up what he's been doing in the AFL recently. So
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of players who move clubs struggle to impact straight away. I think of Dan Houston straight away. I think of Lockie Schultz straight away. I'm sure there's many other examples. I don't think Charlie Curno's hit his straps yet. I don't think DeConing, Silvani, Sam Flanders. I don't think there's many players who move clubs and impact straight away. So it's not uncommon. I just think it just hasn't clicked yet. He's also coming into a pressure cooker situation where this isn't Sydney. There is a demand for performance here. So there's already pressure that they put on themselves, and there's also pressure from everyone else. And there's also, whether it's fan pressure for performance, external mainstream media pressure for getting the clickbait. That's what separates this club from a lot of them.
Absolutely. And I do think as well that We are a team that make it very hard to score the easy goals, which I think playing in that position that he plays, he's had 4 or 5 years in a row at the Swans where he kicked 25 plus. There's probably at least a quarter of those that were gimmies, which helps boost that total. And I can't remember the last time we kicked, more than 1, maybe 2 easy goals in the game. Our game style makes it very difficult for him. So.
Yeah. Where are you, mate? What's behind you there?
Oh, I'm just waiting for my wife to pick me up from the train station at the moment, so I had some time to kill. It's hard with the fan cams. We've got so many night games and trying to put the kids to sleep and stuff and still get on. I don't want to make you stay up longer than you need to because it was a marathon session the other night, so thought I'd check in.
It was a marathon the other night. It's been 2 marathons in a row. I'm kind of hoping for just a simple 2-hour session this week. Although it'll start earlier because I'll be watching from home. I'm not making the trip to Adelaide, so yeah, I dare say we'll be in bed earlier.
Wise move.
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
All right, mate. Thanks very much for calling in.
See you guys.
See ya.
See you, mate.
Good man, Reese. Yeah. What else, Matt?
One thing I noticed, we actually played Hayward as our deepest forward the last 5 minutes of the game against North. I don't know if Reese just mentioned anything about that because I couldn't hear him. But and when I saw it, I was like, finally, we're playing this bloke where, I thought we were recruiting him to play, as a stay-at-home forward, use his creative skills, because he is a very creative player. But, it was a bit frustrating that it took for us to, obviously need a next goal wins kind of thing to finally put him where he's at his best. But, and then, he did get that one chance where he picked up the loose ball in the pocket and he did the right thing by looking inside, and probably just couldn't see an option. And then as soon as he hesitated, his angle was closed down and it was smothered. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty well covered amongst the fan base for, the way that we use our half forwards and flankers. But I would like to see him being used as a little bit more of a stay-at-home forward, just because we seem to lack a bit of creativity once the ball enters our forward 50.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as I said earlier, it's I mean, I think Voss and Dean Cox have a different philosophy, or Voss and Longmire, whatever system they're playing. I guess they are playing a continuation of Longmire's game, just with a Dean Cox flair to it. But yeah, would you do you back him in to figure it out?
As in Will?
Yeah, or do you think this is just one of those first season, just got to get it out of the way, and then next year he'll be settled?
No, I think he's definitely got the right character for it to work out. I'm definitely willing to back him in. I think that we just need to find a way to get him involved just a little bit more. He's obviously got a great engine, and they're trying to use that by getting him, up and down the wings to be that kind of outlet option, and that link up between defense and offense. But he's kind of struggling to get involved at the moment, which I think personally, I think that half forward position is probably the hardest position to play when the ball's, or particularly for us. It's not an easy position to play. So, we saw it a bit last year. I think you mentioned it with Haynes and stuff last year. It took him a little bit to adapt to playing at a club like Carlton. I think there would definitely be a little bit of that, maybe a bit of a culture shock for him. Different state, completely different club, different philosophies, and it's not the most stable environment to come in as a mature age recruit. So, I'd back him in. I think we could just use him a bit smarter. That's all.
Yeah.
Try and get him involved, get him on the scoreboard a bit. So, yeah, I wouldn't be dropping him. I know there's been a bit of talk about that, if there was any point in trying to challenge this decision because of his poor form. And, you could look at bringing in a Flynn Young for him, but I think there's definitely room for both. I think he's not undroppable, but I just think it's not a great look for the club to be dropping him in, to be dropping him a month in after bringing him in as a mature age recruit. I don't think it would be ideal.
No, I wouldn't drop him either.
Yeah.
I would play Flynn Young, though. I would definitely
Yeah.
be playing Flynn Young. I really enjoyed watching him over the last few weeks. Let's just say Hayward is not suspended. Let's just say he gets off. Because if he does get suspended, I think it's pretty straightforward. Flynn Young for Will Hayward, away we go. What if Hayward does not? What if it's up? What if the suspension is overturned? How do you get Flynn Young into the thing?
I was just having a look at it before I jumped on the stream, and I actually think Hayward gets overturned and is available to play. The only one that he might come in for is probably Taylor Byrne, which I would be reluctant to drop him as well. But a tough trip to Adelaide. We're not expecting this to be the easiest of games, and particularly for a small forward. A young small forward as well. I don't know. It's not ideal to be taking Taylor Byrne out only 2 games after you've brought him in, but that would probably be the only one that he would likely to be making way for him.
See, maybe I shouldn't reveal this because I'm going to be on the team selection show
Pommies.
tonight on the Pommy and Oz YouTube channel. Yes, I have found a way.
A creative
I've done
way.
my team in a way. So basically, I've done my team in a way that regardless if Hayward's suspension is overturned or not, I've still got Flynn Young in. So that'll be at 8:30 if this isn't finished. But yeah, I love what Flynn Young's done. And I think we would look really different and dynamic if Flynn Young, Will Hayward, even, Zach, I don't know if you think Zach Williams should be coming straight back in or not, but there is an opportunity there to look extremely different. And so last week, the Lions played against the Pies, and they were missing a lot of their key defenders, basically their 2 best. And I think a lot of the rhetoric from the Lions was, well, our midfield has to step up now and take the pressure off our back line. Excuse me. I think this is a very similar situation. Midfield really let us down in the 4th quarter late last week. And now it's on the midfield again to make sure that we don't lose the ball too much and to stop the pressure getting piled on, Lewis Young, and assuming Lewis Young and Wade Dirksen take Phil Thorpe and Tex Walker.
Yeah, I think sometimes I think we've even seen it in previous seasons when Wiedering's not been there. Lewis Young in particular has had really standout games. And then you're right, the midfield, I'm hoping that when you've got a chance to plan for it and think that, okay, Wiedering's not going to be there, you should be better prepared for it than when he goes down mid-game or mid-quarter like he did last week. So I'm hoping that it looks a little bit more stable than what it did at the back end of last week. But then again, you're going for a full quarter against Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. So whether the midfield can sustain and uphold pressure for that long is a different story to whether they can do it for, a quarter or 2, as we've seen. Because when their pressure drops, it does look really bad, and teams are able to get it out of there so quick, and we just look at sea in there. And then, like you said, it makes it so hard for our back line to get into position to be able to lock down forwards and slow down entries. So yeah, it's a good point. When we do have a plan, time to plan for it and maybe be able to mentally prepare for it a bit, it should be easier to cope with. But yeah, when he went down mid-game, that was in my head, it was like the beginning of the oh no, oh shit, here we go again kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think Trent Barth took a mark, I think it was, right after it. So it was like a goal and Wiedering down at the same time. And it was like that, oh shit, again.
Yeah. Well, the latest update here, the Blues have fired back at the AFL. The AFL said that Hayward's clenched fist indicates a deliberate and intentional strike. And Townsend from Carlton says here in his submission that the change that was introduced in 2026 the intentional strikes to a victim player's body or head will usually be classified as medium impact at minimum. These are the ones that we were talking about earlier. So these changes were designed to crack down on off-the-ball gut punches rather than an incident like this. Yeah, I see a distinction here. This is in the play. It was in general play. He was putting pressure on a kick in general play. It wasn't off the ball.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's different to the ones that they've been trying to stamp out with, like where I thought they were going with it was more so the ones that were off ball. But then again, the AFL is such an inept organisation, and how can you even look into the rhetorics that they're trying to cut? I don't know. Yeah, it's the tribunal is just one section of the AFL that it's like an extension of the ineptitude.
Yeah. Just going to bring it up again. No, I reckon this is not off the ball. Just even if we just go back to the original footage. So, here we go. He's actually played on. As you can see, the umpire has called it here. He's played on, which means the ball is live, which means it's free game. A player is well within his rights to apply pressure. I think he's called a downfield free kick for this. I just don't know why it's anything else. The gut punch rule that they brought in was not for this. This is not the gut punch rule. The gut punch rule was for the off the ball hits away from the play.
I think is it Townsend? It's Townsend, isn't it? Yeah, I think he'll be able to overturn this. I don't think it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bounce test because my phone's going to die. But
Mate, get out of here.
All the best for the stream.
Good to chat with you. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks for everything.
See ya. Love that. That was good. All right. Donnie. Hello, mate. Calling Hayward a thug. Shots fired, mate. Don't know about that. Yeah, Sav, Adelaide have major first half issues. They have not managed to score more than 35 points prior to halftime. So, yeah, I put out my preview earlier today, and I watched Matthew Nicks in his press conference after the Fremantle game last week, and I also read through his round 5 preview statements as well. They are struggling in the first halves. That's their thing. It's been their thing all year through their first few games, and they have made comebacks in second halves, which it's kind of all set up for exactly what we've already known. Strong Carlton first half, strong Adelaide second half. But he's concerned and he's frustrated. And if you compare Nick's post-game last week against Fremantle to Voss post-game last week against North Melbourne, you'll find that, Voss seems to be a lot more in control of his emotions in the press conference, even though that might have been frustrating for a lot of people. Nick's was just unable to maintain control in the press conference, and he even made mention of something particular about what they did with he made mention of this narrative around Adelaide and their ball movement, and everyone gets so excited with their ball movement. But he actually said that we don't have the right to move the ball like that without getting our contest right. So very interesting. I've seen this story before. The Crows have come into these games frustrated before they play us in Adelaide, but it's a good point. Sav. Blue Ballers. Hayward is a grub. Yeah, wow. Tatum, do we think many have even gone to South Australia for gather round with the price of fuel? Great question. Is there anybody here who is going to Adelaide with the price of fuel? Hello, Lana. Will is not a thug. He just had a slight brain fade. Hello, Jan. Toby Green is a thug. Hayward has actual class. No comparison. Andrew, what do we need in a cage, Terry? I don't understand. I don't know. What do you think we need in a cage? As I was walking down Lygon Street and I saw Hayward gut punching the homeless. JCFC on, can anyone tell me one player at Carlton who has improved in the last 2 years? Pitto? In the last 2 years? Yeah, probably Pitto. Dione would be a good time to carpool with a BA group. It's not a bad idea, you know, like one big, massive bus. Anyway, that's the latest. The club have, through Chris Townsend, KC, have distinguished between what the AFL intended to do with this crackdown on gut punches and what actually happened with this incident. As we tick over the 1 hour and 15-minute mark, well, it's 1 hour. I started the stream at 4:50. So the actual matter has been going for just over an hour. Yes, Cooper Lord has definitely improved in the last 2 years. That's a good call. And so has Matt Carroll. That's a good point. You could even say Ollie has. Okay. Lord, Carroll, Pitto. Well, Jagger, I mean, yes. Hello, Zoe. Sack 'em all. Much love. Much love, Zoe. Pommy, isn't there an internet site about buses traveling around for physical activity? I think it's called a bank bus. Yeah. DPG, let's remember the footage of Will spewing his guts up in a pracky match. That version we still need, and he has it in him. Well, his work ethic is definitely something we need more of at the club and in the team. Tatum, you're still thinking Flynn Young for Will Hayward, Voss on his way out can begin some selection integrity. Well, I think the fact that Saad and Akers haven't been playing straight away tells you there's a bit of a difference in the way that they do pick the team. I do want to play a few things here. The VFL report, I'm going to give you an update on the VFL through the coach. See if there's anything of note here. Why is that not working?
Today, Jamie. Not the result we wanted, but surely there's plenty of positives still to take from that one.
Yeah, there's plenty of positives. I think our second quarter's a bit disappointing. They got a run on there, but again, we fought the game out to the end, which was a lot of credit to the boys. So some areas we've got to work on in our game, but I think we're certainly heading in the right direction and some good performances by individuals.
Yeah, and obviously got the bye this week, but heading into Friday night after that against the Pies, that last quarter was some really positive signs, especially. So you take plenty from that last quarter heading into the next clash with the Pies.
Definitely, yeah. I thought our contest work and our ball movement late when we challenged and late in the last quarter was really good. We just got to finish it off with our set shots. We were +4 for scoring shots, but we probably missed too many easy shots on goal. So we'll get to work in that area. But I was really pleased with the last quarter.
Yep. And who were some of those individual performers that you thought were really good today?
Yeah, I think Liam Reedy in the ruck is in really good form, and his ability to try and get the team going forward is great. And Flynn Young is in fantastic form up forward. So both those boys will be knocking on the door for AFL very soon.
Yep, and now obviously got the bye this week, but then you got the Pies after that. What's the focus shift to now?
Yeah, we'll look at all areas of our game. We'll start with our defence. It's some areas of our defence we need to keep working on, which we'll try and improve in that 2-week block. And also some of our decisions with ball in hand is an area we can certainly address.
Yeah, thanks, Damo.
No worries, Bill.
Interesting. So he named Liam Reedy and Flynn Young there. I just want to, for those of you who are not aware, Liam Reedy has been offered a 2-week suspension, downgraded to 1 with the guilty plea, which the club have actually accepted. So he won't be available this week. Also, the bye system in the VFL, we just had one. We've got another one. This is the hit here. So player with the ball here, Liam Reedy here, if you haven't seen it. You just see he just comes late, tries to apply some pressure, and then just collects him. Oh, Liam. So he won't be playing at all this week. Then I saw this little thing here from Billy Wilson. Haven't seen much of Billy Wilson. Here.
Yeah. Obviously, Bill, tough loss today. Good to hit out against the North boys. How do you feel like the team performed across all 4 quarters?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, mate. Started pretty well. Let them kick away, a little bit of momentum sort of stuff. But I thought the boys did a really good job taking away their strengths and sticking together. But yeah, solid hit out.
Yeah, in that last quarter, plenty of momentum to take into the next clash in a couple of weeks against the Pies.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. It's still a young group. Got a few AFL boys back. It's just all about connection and momentum, and we'll move into the next round and go from there.
Yep, and obviously for you, a bit of an interrupted pre-season with the foot. How's it feel to put together some quality games, especially today?
Yeah, when I got the news about the foot, it wasn't great. It wasn't great news, but it was a quick 4 weeks in the end, so I got pretty lucky. It was only that long, and yeah, it sort of stuck at that time. But it's good to get back out there, have some fun, and play to my strengths and get going with the year.
Yep, and it's all pulled up well after today.
Yeah, the foot's feeling good, so hopefully progresses, stays strong, and we can keep going from here.
Yeah.
Got very lucky with Billy Wilson. They detected the hot spot in his foot a few weeks ago. David Zeta's had a pot shot at Carlton. He said, the first half of Carlton's arguments have been strong, and I'm looking forward to the quality being maintained in the second half. Fair play. Fair play. Pommy, Billy, check the young lad's posture, shoulders back, chest out. Love that. All right, the latest update. Carlton, via Chris Townsend, says that, he has taken issue with the AFL's argument that Wardlaw wasn't expecting contact. There we go. The argument from Carlton is there is no way known a player in that situation is not expecting contact. Okay, great. We're aligned. Why is it that we're so aligned when it comes to the tribunal arguments, but we're not aligned when it comes to what's the identity of our football club? Think about that. With more games under his belt, Billy will be a solid player for us. Well, yeah, I think it was his first game back, potentially. Maybe his second, after the hot spot was detected. So, yeah, I reckon if he starts putting a few more performances together, he'll get in. The actual update on him, I did have this written down. The VFL report with how every player performed on Billy Wilson was that, so he had 22 disposals, 10 contested possessions, and a goal. And the coach has said here, it was good to see Billy showing some of his strengths, which is his power and speed coming off half back. He created a number of opportunities for us in the front half. If he continues in this way, we think he won't be far away from potentially getting an AFL opportunity. Faz, because by nature lawyers are dodgy, which actually aligns to our history. Faz, I'll ask you, what is the identity of the Carlton Football Club? Tatum. Unpopular opinion here, but I think Hayward deserves 2 weeks for a few of his on-field efforts these past 2 weeks. Yeah. Hey, I'm not a lawyer anymore. I'm just a YouTuber. All right. I am also going to get up. The presser. We can watch that in between. Once the ad goes. But we can watch the coach presser as well.
Our first training session, effectively, for the week. So obviously the review out of the game was a pretty obvious one. The ability to be able to finish their games, but also treat it with a little bit of perspective as well, like where were the gains that we made throughout the game. I don't think you can, if you're going to deal with what you need to be better at, you also need to reinforce what went well and what puts us in position to win. And the game looked how we wanted to look for the majority of that. Again, if we go into the detail of that, it was, there was a really high pressure game, and certainly we didn't finish out the game that we wanted, so we end up with the same result. So we'll obviously keep a lens on how we want to finish, but we also can't walk past some of the progress we made in that space as well.
Are you giving the spirit of the group a tick at the moment?
Oh, mate, absolutely. The key part is doing it when the game's getting tougher, and how do we still execute what we need to through those critical times. Everything's telling me around if you look behind the goals vision and our paying attention to little things and being there for each other has been a real positive for us. But you also got to do it for the entirety of the game, and that's what we've been challenged on. So some of that stuff has come up. Some of those have been important conversations to have. But like I said, we're not walking away with 4 points. So you've got 80% of your work that you're happy with, but there's 20% that's clearly letting us down.
How about the on-field communication late in the games? I know Chris Davies raised that on Saturday, that it just wasn't quite on point and let the side down late on Friday. How could that be better?
By talking. Is it any more complicated than that? No, it's and through that, it's you get the detail right. But it's not also the be all and end all. There's obviously the way we want to play in the moments. We want to play better. So there's still got to be a structure and method behind it. I mean, the short answer is that on the game on the weekend was, North Melbourne brought a pressure rating of 2.27. It was extraordinary. We were still sitting at 2.0 pressure rating. So both teams were going at it, but they just did it for a bit longer, and we weren't able to sort of absorb it for long enough. So that's the short answer. And the connection piece is making sure that we still communicate to each other and still leading each other through those moments and giving confidence to each other in those moments. So that's a total team thing. But again, you've got to acknowledge the progress, because we obviously had points of progression as well that we need to stop and acknowledge, but also look at it, stare it down, and say it still needs to be better.
Clearly, there's a bit of a trend here, obviously, where this happened repeatedly. No one has to tell you that. Are you seeing the same stuff when you review it, or are you seeing different?
Yeah, for shorter periods of time. Yeah.
It's a good question. Are you seeing the same stuff that's happening over and over again?
Shorter periods of time. And look, it's. I sort of also think that it's. I said it last week. It's not about having a silver bullet here. It's. A lot of this is understanding what you need to continue to persist through, and also acknowledging what you need to change and what you don't need to change but keep persisting with. So it's not about throwing everything out and it's going, okay, let's start again. It's finding those little things in our game that are clearly, if we bridge the gap on, that makes us a better football team. Makes us a better football team in those moments. But there's also being really strong on what we need to continue to persist with, and ensure that we get the right behaviours at the right times in games, and then we can do it for longer than what we are.
You touch on persistence there. Have you seen a continual growth, particularly this season, from your group?
Look, I've seen it, but it's a little bit like we've got a game to play against Adelaide, and we get another chance to be able to go out there against a good opposition, and they've got their own little challenges right now. So, So, when we talk about the game itself, our next chance to prove that is to be able to go out and play against a really quality opposition, against a gather round, and we get to kick off the round, and we know that's really important to them. We know it's a really important stage of the season for both them and us. So we look forward to that challenge. So once we deal with what's happened in the game, then we move forward pretty quick. Today onwards, so it's always having a tough conversation with you guys, because I'm sort of looking back 3 days when I've already sort of looking forward to the 2 games that are coming, and how do we get that transfer from one game to the next? And again, I'll highlight some really good positive changes, but also an absolute acknowledgement that you need to do it for longer. So I think I said here last week, I said 120 minutes. Now we don't do it for 115, do it 120. Well, that's what we need to do.
Everyone's been looking at the second halves and what you do at halftime. We saw some vision on the weekend of Travis Boak sort of talking to the group at halftime. Is that new? And separately, what are some of the things you're trying to implement that you might have been not doing at the start of the season at halftime?
Yeah, it's funny. We look at all things, but we've been doing little processes like that since Brisbane. We played Brisbane the first practice match, so that's the rehearsal and repetition. So once you've done the work, do the reps. So we've clearly got to do more reps. So there's subtle little things that you can look at, but again, I'm not a massive believer that how you run out after half time is how you play. There's an element of being re-engaged with task and focus. We clearly obviously got that right on the weekend, but it doesn't guarantee us that we get it right this week. Every game's going to throw a different anomaly at us. We've got first halves right, but it doesn't guarantee that we'll get it right this week. We haven't been able to finish off the games as well as we'd like, and acknowledge there's a trend there, but it doesn't mean it happens doesn't mean it can't change this week. Every week's a new opportunity, so we'll take that as an opportunity. But what we're also going to acknowledge is what's coming, and Adelaide have a team that do bring enormous amount of pressure. And we've got to make sure that we can absorb that. We're also going to make sure that we can go from inside out really, really fast. They're a team that can do that, and clearly they've got some scoring threats. So our defence is going to have to be right on.
I know there was you mentioned it was a Good Friday. It was obviously a different event. You didn't want to talk about it too much in that press conference, but now that we're a few days on, what is it? The question I think was asked: what is it that gives you the confidence that you're the guy to lead Carlton out of this rut at the moment?
Well, everything for me is, outside of the game itself. I mean, I spent the weekend eating Easter eggs, so and having short turnarounds and short breaks. So what that means is that what you encourage the playing group is to switch off when you need to get your rest, and then when you're on, be on, which means there's an enormous amount of work that has to go in to get yourself prepared for the following week. So outside of having the rest you need and enjoying those fine hot cross buns that you talked about earlier, and then also dialing in on what we need to be able to do next, so the message is really clear. Don't make it bigger than what it is, and just still value the really important things we want in our game. There's really no other conversation, not in here anyway. There might have been a different discussion, but all those sorts of things that get talked about, ultimately, we've got a really important task this week, and that's the weekend. And it'll be the same next week. It'll be the same the weekend after that. So,
do you appreciate that it's externally, at least, it's getting quiet? I think head of footy was asked if he could guarantee that you'd be coaching this week, but that's not something.
Again, that would be the first time. That again, I don't pay any attention to it. So you've been here the last 3 weeks, and you ask the same question every single week. So at some point in time, you just got to get on with the task at hand, and that's what we're doing. So no, not distracted off anything other than just getting the best out of the team, supporting them as best we possibly can to make the progress we need. That's what we do inside.
Do you feel the noise is bigger than it should be, given the looks that you've got?
Well, we're not winning, so obviously you expect some level of scrutiny. So that you appreciate that that's what's going to happen every single week when you come off a game you should win and you don't end up sort of finishing the job. But also what you have to do is continually look at what's real and what's not real. And some of that you have to factor in. You can't ignore it. But at the same time, when you're sort of really committed to what's important to you, then you tend to give that more voice. And that's the challenge for us, is that how do you give voice to what's happening inside and celebrating people, but also still have the high standards and accountability that's needed within the four walls? And that's what we've got to continue to reinforce within our environment. And then we've got to also understand that there's going to be continued dialogue and analysis that always happens around teams. It certainly happens here. And it gets dissected. But within all that, how do you still, as a performer, lock in on what you need to be able to do and put all that aside for a couple of hours a week, and look at your teammate beside you and stand up for them? So that's the task we've got. If anything, there's an opportunity in that, and we've got to take that opportunity.
Do you feel like there's a disconnect between the club, yourself, and the fans at the moment?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I mean, where we're aligned on is that we're not happy with where we're at. I think we can agree on that.
Defensively this week, how's Jacob Wiedering going firstly, and what do you look like down back this week?
Well, I won't disclose all of that, but obviously without Wieders there, we've got to fill that pillar. He's going all right too, by the way. He's post the weekend, so he seems to have bounced pretty well, certainly at this stage, as he goes through his own protocols. But then now it comes about the game and the next player that comes in. So we're going to have to work out what that balance looks like. Obviously, Dirksen came in last week. Youngie played a little bit more in the ruck. So we'll talk about what their split needs to be. Hainesy's now had a few games under his belt, so he's certainly getting closer to be ready. And there's a couple others that are in that boat as well. Like, obviously, Sally's not tall, but he's obviously gone back and found a little bit of form on the weekend, which was good to see. So, there's some guys there that could certainly deserve their chance if the opportunity presents itself.
The end of that VFL game. Was he okay?
No, he's pulled up quite well. I asked the same question too, by the way. And so but he's pulled up pretty well. He's out here training now. So I think it's just more one of those ones that you haven't played a lot of footy and done a lot of the pre-season. So sort of just being able to get the work under his belt was the most important thing. So, but look, we also know that the game itself, I mean, the challenge is within here is that we make it about the game and we don't make it about what's around it. In this press conference, I get asked a lot about what's going on around it. But you know what all our supporters want to know? How are we going to go this weekend? That's all I care about as well. Thank you.
Interesting. There you go. I will say, I watch all the press conferences from all the coaches. Very rarely do you get all those microphones at all the press conferences for certain coaches. That's the beast. So Carlton really pushing hard here on the grading. Really pushing hard. They're Townsend and I guess Carlton. We have conceded this was a strike, but we dispute that it should have been graded as intentional impact and that it should have been graded medium impact. I think David Zeta was meant to write medium impact. Wait. I think he's cooked this tweet. Anyway, Townsend has said that accounting for, this is a bit of banter, accounting for all the inflation in the world, I doubt there's anyone in their lounge room, even with particularly big, beautiful screens they have these days, who would say this should ever be described as more than low impact. Basically, the Blues are arguing the clauses in the guidelines that allow for striking charges to be upgraded are not for these types of incidents, but rather the off-the-ball gut punches and the like. Dione, for a guy who's getting hammered left, right, and center, Vossi always remains composed. You have to give him credit. I think he kind of likes it based off how calm he has been through it. I think he will miss it, and I think he kind of likes the furnace. I think for sure. I don't know of many. I mean, I remember when we were sitting here listening to David Teague's press conferences, and then as the heat turned up, it just got worse and worse. We were also in lockdown at that time as well. That might have had something to do with it, but yeah. Matt Lang, it's a great question because St Kilda do this. Is there a way we can ask the club to put up subtitles for the presses? It's a great, great question. Yeah. Jen, so glad you've noticed it. The number of mics, the type of questions, the personal attacks, the majority only at Carlton. Yeah. Yeah. Slobbo, the AFL media and the Tribunal hate Carlton, always want to fuck us over. Well, so I saw the comments from Gary Lyon last night. He had a bit of a shot at basically Carlton fans with a podcast. Basically said that we as a footy community need, I'm paraphrasing here, we need to sort of like lay off Vossi, and those calling for his head need to sort of back off. And then he referenced Carlton fans with a microphone and a platform. I found that really interesting because if you actually watch the broadcast, Gary Lyon is subconsciously barracking for North to win the game just because, and he says a number of times in the fourth quarter, or I don't want to be the one to say this, but it would be an absolute disaster if Carlton lose this game. So he's a hypocrite. He's an absolute old head hypocrite. And I can't wait for the day that whoever else retires from the game right now just takes him over, and he's just, he's not a part of the lineup anymore, or when he goes and rots at 3AW. But also put us at a press conference. You won't see, you see Fox Footy journos, you see Channel 9, 3AW, all these journos ask the pointed questions about him being sacked to him, also to our head of football. If I was at a press conference, I would not ask Michael Voss, mate, do you think you're going to coach next week? I would not ask Chris Davies, will Michael Voss coach next week? I don't want to even know about that. I want to know about how we're going to get better. So I think Gary Lyon is completely disturbed by the influx of the new media coming through. And I found his comments really interesting. There are part of his comments which I think I get what he was trying to get at, but I don't think it's his place to have a go at media coming for the coach's head, because the station that he works for and the journalists that work for the station that he works for are the ones asking the pointed questions in press conferences to him and to our club's representatives. So interesting. No updates after the latest update. For those of you who have joined just now, welcome. The Blues are arguing that this should only be graded as low impact, not medium. That's all in all what's happened. We have gone past an hour and a half of this stream. This is bizarre. Yeah, Pommy, Waitley is the worst. He takes the moral high ground and creates a narrative around high performance not being good equals bullying. Bro Defo asks his partner. Yeah. Sometimes I don't know where these comments are going to go. I just read them. Andrew, do you think this is the last year Adam Sard will play? If there's only one player we didn't play to his strengths for his entire Carlton career, then Sard will be number one. So before he came back from his hamstring, I made the comment I thought he still had plenty of footy left in him. I'm thinking that was wrong. I don't know. I don't know what happens now. I think we've moved past him. There was a comment made by, I think it was Voss, around Sard's performance in the VFL, showing something. I think he'll definitely play more games this year as the season goes on and as bodies start getting tired. But I don't know where he finds himself. I don't know. It's a real unknown. Ella Chris Beach, Lyon is still salty. Melbourne's losses to us in 2023. He still sleeps with the lights on over it. Yeah. Webby, hello to you, my friend. Every journalist has their stories drafted to send on Thursday night. Yeah. Turn it up. I will definitely concede that we can be over-emotional, irrational, frustrated, and we can struggle to get through the emotion at times. Absolutely, myself included. But I won't have Gary Lyon pot-shotting me or any content creator who supports Carlton and talks about Carlton. Not Gary Lyon. Slobbo, the media are the laziest dogs. They just used old clickbait terminologies. They are the ones that bring all the noise around Carlton. Such a joke. Yeah. Gary Lyon still crying on a stretcher. How have we not chanted cry on the telly? We saw you cry on the telly. You know what? In honor of Gary Lyon, I think it would just be fair and reasonable to just play the footage one more time. Gary Lyon. Stretcher. Ah, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's real good.
Paul Roos seems to have brought a really hard edge to the club since he's been here. We notice in the tissues and in correspondence during the week that a young man called Daniel Cross played a whole game, came in, x-rayed his leg and found he had a broken tibia. Played the whole game with a broken leg. Things have changed from years and years ago.
You can't be doing this.
Jack.
Force. Surely be doing it.
Jack,
You can't be doing this.
Don't you protest.
Did Daniel Cross
Gary.
actually, he broke his leg and played a whole game with a broken leg. This is extraordinary when you consider that in years and days gone by, what?
Gary, I don't like him doing this. It's not comfortable for me that he's doing this.
Well, look, we won't. I was going to show you this, but
It's good. It's very good. And then all of a sudden, all is fair and equal in this world again. Gary, go for it, mate. Just pot shot the Carlton fans. Fuck it. Very, very good. Very, very good. How could my footy fandom as a child is probably defined by that footage. I never knew I would be talking about it in my 30s, but here we go. That was so good. So good. Gary Lyon stretcher HD photo. See if we can get like an HD photo of it. What do we got here? Where is it? I'm going to put it up here. A little overlay for you all. Slobbo. Anybody remember Yo Gabba Gabba? Haha. You know what, Marcos? You're right. You're right. Anytime there's a bit of a meltdown happening, whether it's on the fan cams or any stream, I'm going to play it. Swap the Jordan poster with Gary Lyon on the stretcher. Rate it. I think Gary has started a war that he did not know he didn't need. Nah, not copping that. Absolutely not copping that from Gary. You will not be pot-shotting Carlton fans on a podcast. Not happening. Because this is the internet. There it is. Anyway, back to the tribunal. Okay. The latest update. After the Blues argued that the clauses in the guidelines that allow for striking charges to be upgraded are not for these types of incidents, but rather for the off-the-ball gut punches and the like. The AFL has come back and said that if the guidelines intended to apply to only off-the-ball incidents, it would have said so. Well, that's inconsistent because then any hit to anyone who was applying pressure to someone with the ball can fall under these guidelines. It's a bit weird. Basically, buckle up. Buckle up. Pommy, you know what really shits me is this narrative that the fans are bad and the media noise is bad. It's the highest honor to be part of expectation. AFL cry more about feedback than anywhere else. Yeah, while also building an ecosystem of negative feedback and promote it. Because as long as it gets clicks, they'll promote it. Yeah. Tatum, we ain't be copping shit from Gary. Yeah, he will not win this fight. No, he won't. Matula, basically Gary Lyon. You know what? I'm going to find it. Where is it? Where do I find it? Where do I find this footage? Okay. One sec. Starts off with Jared Waitley. Hang on. Starts off with Jared Waitley. I'm going to share my screen, but I can't actually share this, if that makes any sense. 1 minute. No. So if I press play, okay.
Nor should they be. I think Carlton's administrative mistake at the moment is they're indulging in a way they're accidentally fueling the narrative. You have the president and the chief executive come out after you've seen 2 games and you know they're not very good, saying we're in it to make the 10, we'll win more than we lose. Nonsense. And then you've got the GM of footy answering questions, hey, would you guarantee that he'll coach this week? I mean, come on. Don't indulge that. Don't fuel it because it's bad enough as it is.
Hold on. They were asked the question by the journos, Jared.
Vossi said the other day, I'm not giving 3 days.
If you don't indulge the question when it's asked to you, then people are going to think it's happening because they refuse to give him any support.
Updates. Well, the rest of the damn club is. Stop it already. Back your guy, give him a suitable amount of time, and then make your judgments when that time comes.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, get ready, guys, because Gary's about to give his opinion. Get ready.
It's a really good point. And they need to the broader footy community needs to differentiate between the noise that comes from what was once just a supporter group that would come on a Saturday and support and vent, watch World of Sport on Sunday, vent, and then get on with it. But now such is the world that we live in that everyone's got a voice and a microphone. And it's not, I get it. I get supporters' frustrations, but whereas in the past, we all live with it as supporters, these are now broadcasting it as if they are in some position of power of which we take no notice and should take no notice of. It's not to be disparaging of the supporter base, but
it's not to be disparaging of the supporter base while being disparaging of the supporter base.
Our supporters, we are emotional. We are invested as just fans and supporters. That doesn't give you the right to make a sport of killing a coach.
Hold on. But it gives you the right to make a sport of killing the coach when you're saying, oh, gee, wouldn't this be a disaster if the Blues lose this game, while you're commenting on the game, while the journos on the network that you represent ask the Carlton Football Club if the coach is going to be coaching next week. It's all one big mindfuck, hypocritical argument, Gary. Get out of here. Absolutely get out of here. Get the fuck out of here, Gaz. Not copping it. Not from Gary. Not from Gary. Oh, mate. It's unbelievable. No, we wouldn't take any notice. All right, don't take any notice of where the game is going. See how that one goes for you. See how that plays out. Oh, dear. It's just so funny. I'm being told by Jared Waitley and Gary Lyon that I shouldn't be getting too emotional about it. Should back the coach in. That's fine. Sure, back the coach in. But the representatives on their own networks are the ones that get to ask the questions to our club. Not me. I don't get to ask questions to the club in that same forum. I'm not allowed to go to press conferences. I don't have accreditation. That's the rules. Oh, Gary. Pommy. Talking about distasteful. It's unreal. It's almost like, see, what gets me, and this is where things have changed. He made a very interesting comment about how the fans back in the day used to go to the games, tune into Wide World of Sports, pay their ticket and shut up and then be told what the narrative was. That's basically how I interpreted that. Go home, watch Wide World of Sports, go back to work, see you on the weekend when you pay for your tickets and you come and watch the football, and just be good little boys and girls and just shut up and watch. That's essentially how I've taken that. Oh, man. Whereas you've got Voss, our coach, acknowledging that the noise is there and making the point of saying we have to be able to live in it and be able to put it to the side for the couple of hours in a game. Gary. Fucking Gary. Get back on your stretcher, Gary. Why did he open this can of worms? Why? Why would he do that? He obviously doesn't understand the world that we live in today. Okay, the tribunal is now deliberating. Aidan, good evening to you. Being with an avoidant for 2 years and supporting Carlton is one of the biggest areas for character building someone can have. Yeah. I assumed he was saving himself for marriage. Yeah. I feel like I live in an alternate universe, I swear. It's like, OMG, people are upset that standards are sliding. Yeah. Michael, why are we challenging this? Put Flynn Young in and make a selection statement. Could do. Could have Flynn Young and Will Hayward. That'd be handy. Would be dynamic. Slobbo, they really think they can get away with this. I have receipts of Jared and Gary coming after the coach's head this year. It is beyond fun. Yeah, they are absolutely hypocrites. Yeah. Anyway, it's just amazing. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you if you've just joined. We are waiting. We've spent nearly 2 hours. We've spent nearly 2 hours. Basically, the club, Carlton, is trying to argue that this should not be graded as medium impact. It should be low impact, if anything. They have conceded that there was a strike. They dispute that it should have been graded as intentional or medium impact. And they believe that it should be careless or low impact. Yeah. Hello, Robert. We see a hell of a lot worse, and it's not even looked at. But I think this anti-Carlton thing, that those in power, nothing unusual, they are pathetic. Well, yeah. Carlton flaggers, I call on all supporters to use this as recognition that they are actually listening. Use your voice. Mate, they are listening. They are absolutely listening. You can't ignore it. We're too loud. Anthony, is there footy abroad? Well, I believe the boys will be doing the show. Pommy, Jake, and Luke. I am obviously waiting for this to end. Yeah, I believe it's good to go for 7 p.m. So the boys will be on. I will jump across as soon as this is done. The tribunal's deliberating, so I don't think it's going to take long. Maybe 20 minutes max. So we'll see. Let's have a look. What's the poll doing? Okay. If you are in the live chat, put a vote in. What happens tonight? Do you think the suspension will be upheld or overturned? Right now, after 317 votes, 59% of you think it will be upheld and 41% of you think it'll be overturned. I'm actually going to end the poll and I'm going to resubmit the poll and see if this changes based off what you've seen tonight. Poll. What do you think will be the outcome? So suspension. We'll just say suspension. Fine. All right, it's up. What do you think will be the outcome tonight? Oh yeah, hit the like button. Yeah, you can hit the like button if you like. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. But I reckon all of you watching are subscribed, because why would you tune into this stream if you were not subscribed to the channel? Aiden, I think they do. I get the death stare whenever I'm there. Aiden, I would also death stare you as well. I would absolutely want to squeeze the life out of you. But I also love you to death. So it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, that little cousin, like you just want to break him, but you love him so much. You're like that for me. Upheld. Really? Oh, you think it will be upheld? They will do anything to kick us while we're down. Yeah. So they've been deliberating for about 5 minutes. All the submissions have been made. Damien, Blues fought a strong argument, but hard to see it being overturned, in my opinion. Yeah, I like the arguments that we made, especially about how can you say that the player with ball in hand in open play should not reasonably expect to have contact. Changes to the father-son unannounced, another clear indication. Yeah. Round 5, still don't know what's happening at the end of the year with that. Tatum, you think it's going to get to a fine? Interesting. The poll says 63% of you. Aiden, just wait till we win a flag. Oh, mate. Yeah. Ashley, here's another poll. If Hayward gets off, does he deserve to line up in the next game? Form has been poor and gave away 2 crucial free kicks turned into a goal, one of which got him suspended. Hey, it's a fair question. Okay. Interesting update here. Before the tribunal went to deliberate, Jeff Gleeson, who is the chair, he offered instructions. Basically, he said the guideline in question is not confined to off-the-ball strikes, but the fact that it was regarded as in play can be taken into account by the tribunal if it wishes. Okay, this is good. This is good. Because the argument that we as the Carlton Football Club were trying to make earlier on was that, so if you've just joined, basically the argument that we were making was, the reason why we're even here tonight is because at the start of the year, the AFL were cracking down on those gut punches. I believe Samson Ryan got suspended for it over the weekend, and the league just wants to stamp it out, especially the ones off the ball. Carlton tonight have argued that these new guidelines and these new rules do not have anything to do with this particular incident, because this was an on-the-ball play. It was an on-the-ball play. It was happening. It wasn't an off-the-ball hit. It was in general play. You can see here, Wardlaw has the ball. He plays on. Umpire, you saw his hands just there. Like, that's it. Will Hayward is within 5 meters now. It's fair game. Play on. So this is not an off-the-ball hit. So that's essentially what is happening here. And if I just slow it down even more, there's a better angle here. So play on. Hang on. Let me just show you here. Umpire, 2 hands up, play on. That means the play is live. The ball is live. And if you have the ball in your hand and there's a player within 5 to 10 meters, which the umpire can clearly see here, Carlton's arguing you should reasonably expect contact, especially when you can see him in your peripherals for sure. So Hayward's made the play. He's gone to put pressure. And you can see here, he hit the right arm first. Bit of a roundhouse action, I guess, but he's taken out his arm first. Arm is the first thing to pull back here, as you can see. So there you go. And now we wait. Ooh. Zeta getting a little bit juicy in the tweets. He says here, I found myself on Hinge more than I care to admit of late. I will be posting some of my least favorite prompts as the tribunal deliberates. Is Zeta trying to take this opportunity to get some riz in? You know what? I respect it. I respect it, David. I respect the hustle. Fair enough, David. And so just bringing it back, the chair of the tribunal has made it very clear, because the AFL tried to argue that these guidelines included on the ball hits. And so the chair has made it very clear that the guideline in question is not confined to off the ball strikes. But the fact that this was regarded, and it has been agreed that this was regarded as in play, it can be taken into account by the tribunal if it wishes. So the tribunal has the opportunity right now to distinguish between off the ball hit, on the ball hit. And I think if the tribunal does not distinguish between off the ball hit and on the ball hit here, we are going to go down a very messy route, because any contact from now on at the time of someone kicking the ball is going to be deemed an intentional strike with medium impact. That's what we are about to go there if the tribunal decides it wants to go there. Any contact with ball in hand could now be deemed to be intentional, an intentional strike, and therefore medium impact. It's actually quite bizarre that they could be doing this tonight. It's quite bizarre. Only Carlton. Zeta is definitely on Wiz. Zeta, I can't believe it. Zeta talking about his Hinge prompts at such a serious point in time. We're trying to figure out if Will Hayward's going to play this week. This guy's trying to get the riz on. He's just letting everyone know that he's single, basically. Fair play. Hey, never have a go at a man having a go. Can we play the Borat music on the way out? I'm going to say no, because it hasn't actually gone out of my head. Yeah. Ari, what's Hinge? Very good. Very good from you. Yeah, Petra, the gut punch on Weeders in the Tigers match got a... no, I think Jonty Fall got a week. I'll tell you now. Jonty Fall. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is the key difference. Key difference here. This is what happened with Jonty Fall and Jacob Wiedering. You can't actually see the point of impact because the play's in the way, but look, off the ball, roundhouse, boom, hits him right in the stomach. He got the week for that. And then I reckon Samson Ryan was suspended this week. Samson Ryan. Richmond Stark. Samson Ryan shot to the guts. Yes. Yeah. I'll just play you this one from this weekend at the MCG against Port. Samson Ryan's there. For fuck's sake. You can't really see it. Oh, no, you can. You can see the strike clearly off the ball. Nowhere near the ball. So you see that he sort of winds it up there. Anyway, that was Samson Ryan. Key differences. Nah. Hayward's getting off tonight. I've seen enough. Oh no, David. He's gone again. So the tribunal is still deliberating. The best way to ask me out is by asking me out. What should I write to him? What should I write to him on X? What's something witty and funny I can write to him right now? Chat, help me out. We're going to riz David Zeta up right now. Clint, you think he will get off the drop? That would be hilarious. Kirk, Hayward's technique is poor. He should have an outstretched arm to try and push Wardlaw off the kick. The outstretched arm will contact the side of Wardlaw before the roundhouse will. Yeah. Walsh, Anthony, hello, sir. Rioli's tackle on Williams went below the shorts and took out his legs. Was that more dangerous than the in-play jumper punch? Well, yeah. Yeah, David got bored. He did. Started rizzing up the chat. The best way to ask me out is by asking me out. That's David's hinge prompt. Punished Jorts. Ask if he needs his lawn mowed. Gary Lyon is free right now. We're going to riz David Zeta right now is the worst sentence ever said in the history of ever. I don't know. Ben Dixon said first in, best dressed. No, first in, first dressed, or something like that on the weekend. It was pretty poor. The first half of our date will be the best you've ever had. The second half will not so much. But what you see is what you get, David. I like this, Faz. I was thinking of going with hey you up. I'm going to tag Sabrina Carpenter in his tweet. Is he a Sabrina Carpenter fan? Is that the link? Hey, I think I'm going to do it. Jen, I think I'm going to do it. Hey, when are you free for a drink? Blue Bagger. Ask if he collects Pokemon cards. Matula. Or I can go the offensive and tell him he sounds desperate. Interesting. Okay, this is good. Schnitz and chill. I think I'm going to go with this. Schnitz and chill. Aiden, it's very good. This would count as all of us asking him out. Can you imagine being David Zeta right now? You're like tweeting your thoughts on a live stream that you're watching while 300 people sit in a live chat forum watching you tweet on a live stream that you're watching. Schnitz, S-C-H-N-I-T-Z. I'm going to do it. Aiden, respect. All right, mate. The tweet is sent. The tweet is sent. If you have X, yeah. I have rizzed. We have rizzed. We have rizzed David Zeta tonight. Baron Palmer. Hello, explicit Empress. His ego. Get him his ego. He's a Sagittarius. How do you know that? Is the question. If Tez collects Pokemon cards, that will send him into the upper echelon of the goats. I do not. I used to. I do not collect Pokemon cards anymore. When I was young, I did. Oh, Dione, sorry. Riz is a shortened word for charisma, and it's essentially what you use when you are chatting someone up. Do you have Riz? Do you have charisma? So yeah, we're rizzing up David Zeta. Zonk Steel, all-time stream. Is it? I've come to realize that we could stream about anything. I don't know if this is actually a Carlton fan channel anymore. It's just a channel. No, it is a Carlton fan channel for sure because we subject ourselves to the club. No, it's definitely a Carlton fan channel. But you get what I mean. Like we're talking about. What are we actually here talking about? Kai, I have Riz just asked my 13-year-old son. I'm at that point in life where even I'm starting to get some of these phrases and like I need to ask, what does that mean? Yeah, I'm getting there as well. Marcos. Yeah, that Aiden, I'll give you that. That's an assist. Explicit Empress. His mum never gave him enough attention, so he has a fucked up view of himself. Would genuinely have a deep belief that part of him is evil. Wow. That's deep, man. That's deep. Yeah, lots of unks, Carlton flaggers. But that's why we have guys like you. Caden, has anyone here brought up that Cooter's kid is a watch this space for 28? Look, I'm not going to get too sucked into it. I hope he goes very well. But yes, it's just going to feed into the whole living in the past thing, isn't it? I think it was Cal Toomey reported today that Lucas Koutafidis had a blinder in the under 16s. Where is it? Lucas Koutafidis, son of club great Anthony, was a standout for recruiters watching today's under 16s matches. The 189-centimeter prospect is eligible for the draft in 2028. Harry Dean, Cody Walker, ... Koutafidis. Like, I mean, if Pommy was here, his eyes would be rolling. Let's just wait and see. That's exactly what we need, isn't it? A Koutafidis. A nice Greek/Italian boy. Tony, first date with Carlton is like being catfish. Looks good on paper, but when you see it live, it's shocking. Lucas, unfortunately, the father-son rule will be gone by then, or it will be so hard to get him anyways that it won't matter. No, I don't think they'll ever get rid of the rule. I just think it'll just make it tougher. All right, back to the poll. Okay, I want to end it there. 59% of you think this will just be a fine. Interesting. Is anyone else more catfished than Carlton supporters? Well, see, for me, it was like an arranged marriage. My mum did the arranging, and she set me up with Carlton and basically said, yeah, well, let's just merge the families and just live happily ever after. So I guess it was being catfish, but it was a setup. It was an arranged marriage. And I think most people born in the 90s and 2000s, it was an arranged marriage. It wasn't something that we necessarily asked for. It was good intentions. Paulette, young Cooter does go well. He's a great performer. I think it's the first time I've seen this much talk about him I remember a few years ago they were like that we weren't sure if he wanted to even play footy, but we'll see. An arranged marriage with dowry, but Tatum, has he responded? Has he responded? He has not. It's all right. He's busy. I'm sure he's busy. Sure, he just hasn't seen the message. This reminds me of high school. Marcos, live happily ever after, or just live ever after. Yeah. Yes, Jen, you parents do have a lot to answer for. Gary Lyon has had another go at Carlton. See Fox Footy tweet 5 minutes ago. There's no way. There's just no way. He wouldn't. Hang on. Fox Footy. All right, guys. What have you got for us this time? Oh. Okay. A bit more hypocrisy coming through. Yeah? Ready for this? I don't think this is let's have a look.
They say the impact should be graded as low. The impact should be zero. What's that got to do with a footy? That's not a footy action. That's hitting a bloke in the guts. And we know that George Wardle will get up and laugh because he's tough. That's not footy. And for him to say that that's how he tackles, that's rubbish, Will, and he knows it. So they try it on every week. We sit here and we laugh at it, and then they'll make a decision. But that's what Swanee was talking about, and stamp it out. Give him.
So in the same account. Now, just remember, Gary's gone on this tirade about stop, walking the coaches to the end of their career. In the same, you can't even make this up. You can't make this up. It's on the Fox Footy account. So you've got Gary having a pop here. The very previous tweet, his old mate, Barnesy.
He's getting a bit antsy at the Carlton fans. That sort of stuff is back on the agenda. I don't think Carlton will move too early on Voss at the moment. Given Graham Wright,
they've put it on that they're the ones that continue to bring this to our screens. It's amazing. It's amazing. Anyway. Fucking Gary. Fucking Gary. Tatum, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. We are still waiting for an announcement. The tribunal is still deliberating. The no sound effect just brings it all together. Yeah. Yeah. That's why we have opposition supporters in the fan cams, etc. Yeah. I mean, Gary. We came for the Will Hayward Tribunal. Slubbo. Anyone remember the Yo Gabba Gabba? Is that the dance? We came for the Will Hayward Tribunal, and we will leave tonight with a pot shot from Gary Lyon. Yeah. Magnus. Didn't swing as hard as you swung yourself at. Yeah. Old mates misses. Yep. Thanks for the $8, mate. Yeah. Yeah. Game on, Gary. Footy is a contact sport. Oh, the Yo Gabba Gabba Monsters. Right. I thought you meant. Wait, wasn't there a dance called the Gabba? Oh, the Yo Gabba Gabba. Okay. Yeah, these things. Oh, man. Yeah, they're haunting. Crossy, you feel like this is healing us as a club. Well, you know what? Sometimes we need a common enemy to unite. Sometimes. So maybe Gary's helped us out by having a shot at us. And maybe this is just something that we need to just unite us a little bit, get us back on board. We've got a tough game on Thursday. Very few people are talking about it in that regard. It is a tough game with no Jacob Wiedering. We're literally in the fire of the Adelaide Oval, and the AFL have offered us as the sacrifice on Thursday to open up, gather round, and they've just given us as the sacrificial lamb to the Adelaide Crows. I hope we pull off a miracle. Wouldn't that be something? Oh, we will be roasting Gary Lyon so much in the fan cams if the Blues pull off a miracle this week. Oh my goodness. Didn't Gary Lyon want Simon Goodwin sacked? Yeah, didn't he? I remember the SCN stuff where he was like grilling him on the culture. Yeah. The Gary Lyon warning. Why does that ring a bell? Is that the... Hang on. Gary Lyon warning. Oh, no. Oh, no. Why have you done this? Oh, no. What's he done? Okay, I'm going to add this. I am going to add this right now. I forgot about it. I completely forgot about it. All right, I'm about to get it up here. 1 minute. Here we go. Tribunal is still deliberating.
That is awfully good, Gary. That's awfully sharp, Jimmy.
Oh, very good, Dan. Very, very good. Who was worse this week, Gary or Caro? I think Gary's had a nightmare. Gary's had an absolute nightmare because Gary's now reminded me of Gary the did anybody watch SpongeBob as a kid? Or just in general? And it was like Gary. And Gary was the SpongeBob's pet snail, I think. But it would like meow, like meow like a cat. So now every time I've got new sound effects. This is great. Gary Lyon stretcher. Gary Lyon stretcher. I want like a quick. I'm having way too much fun with this. Gary on the stretcher. Copy. I'm going to add it to right here. We're talking like a 480p video, but it doesn't matter. Oh no, Gary, what have you done, mate? What have you done? So we'll set the scene one last time. Gary.
They say the impact should be graded as low. The impact should be zero. What's that got to do with a footy? That's not a footy action. That's hitting a bloke in the guts. And we know that George Wardle will get up and laugh because he's tough. That's not footy. And for him to say that that's how he tackles, that's rubbish, Will, and he knows it. So they try it on every week. We sit here and we laugh at it, and then they'll make a decision. But that's what Swanee was talking about, and stamp it out.
Gary.
About keeping the same goat squeal, but instead of seeing the goat, show Gary on the stretcher.
Oh.
What an enormous idea. What a...
Not bad.
Good. When you're struggling, you're crying through it.
Oh, Gary, just a man with a microphone, eh? Gary, what have you done? Just a man with a microphone. Just a man with a microphone. Gary, what have you done? Oh, it's so good. It's just so good. I will. He has just activated. You know what? When we beat the Crows on Thursday and go on this magic run, I'm coping right now, but indulge me. When we go on this run after beating the Crows on Thursday, let the record show Gary was the reason for the turnaround, for uniting the Carlton faithful. So good. G'day, Tim. The old Gary material is the best. My childhood is the old Gary material. Yeah. I'm going to find... I don't know if I can do it now. Can someone find me, if you have time? I'm pretty sure there's a SpongeBob scene where it's like, Gary, and then he just meows. Can someone find me a clip of it and send it to me? I'd be eternally grateful. Gary the snail. I don't have the time to do it right now and make sure it's the right one. Yeah. Well, hang on. Never mind. I'm going to get a better one, but this will do.
Not now, Gary. I'm on
the It's good. It's good. It's very good. Well, at least I know how this show will end. Gary saved Carlton tonight. That's what he did. He saved our club. Tribunal is still deliberating, guys. We're still waiting. We are still waiting. This is the Kerno Camp moment for 2026. Imagine. It's all we need. We just need a spark. That's all this club has ever needed. A spark and a vibe. Needs to be edited with Gary saying Carlton bad. Yeah. Gary. Meow.
Not now, Gary. I'm in the mood, Gary.
Too good. Anyway. Add the Gary meow into the BA intro before the video start. Yeah. I've got something to play with here now. Yeah, I've got things that I can clearly add. I'm very, very excited. Because now anytime Gary wants to have a pot shot, we can just bring up the receipts. It's great. How long have they been deliberating? 40 minutes. 40 minutes they've been deliberating. Crossy, and you know he's going to hate it. Oh, yeah, he will hate it. He will hate it, but this is the way it goes. I have lost it. Yup. Yeah. That's basically what's happened. Damien, do I think he'll see the show? He may not see this show, but he will see the show. Actually, I might quote tweet Gary. I am going to quote tweet Gary with the photo of the stretcher. Where is it? Where did I download it? Yeah. Yeah. Tweet. It's so immature. Beachy, you've sent it on Messenger. Fantastic. Bear with us, ladies and gents. We are just waiting for the final verdict. "40 minutes of deliberation. We still have not got an answer yet. But we've had a good laugh, haven't we? And sometimes that's all you need in life, just to have a good laugh. Beachy, thank you very much. We're going to have a look right now. Where is it? Here. Ooh, what have you got for me? Very good. Good question. Is the deliberation taking long a good thing or a bad thing? I think it is a good thing because I think where there is a lot of indecision, it tells me that they're putting a bit of pressure on themselves for what it will all mean. Basically, if they decide to suspend Will Hayward, they are saying that any hit to a player with ball in hand Any potential smother attempt, pressure act attempt could be deemed as an intentional strike with medium impact as an automatic thing. So that's where we're at right now. They aren't going to let us wait 50 minutes just to uphold the suspension, surely. Good point. Good point. If they were so steadfast in this being a suspension, it would have been done by now. We're also looking for the bright side here. What was the context of out of context abroad? Oh, hang on. Have I been clipped?
Success. I've just had to enjoy the success of other clubs, and part of me wants to see another three-peat just for the
No, can't see it. I haven't seen it. Do you mean the one where Paul and I are dancing, potentially? Blue Bagger, sometimes we agree to disagree, but I always love this chat. Well, you know what? That is right there. That is the purpose of this channel. We don't always agree, and we shouldn't always agree. But we should be able to disagree and still respect each other. That is actually when we ask what's the identity of the channel, that is what's in my mind. Honestly. Jordan, my changes at 8:30, I will be on the selection table show on the Pommy and Oz YouTube channel, and I'll tell you then. Hello, Pepperoni. 1864. 1864. That's us. All we can do now is hope for a win against Collingwood. That will do for the year. I want a bit more of that. Hayward only averages a goal in 10 possessions against Adelaide. I'll take a goal in 10 possessions against Adelaide at this point. Wow, we're still deliberating. So the initial tweet that said that they're deliberating was 46 minutes ago. We are approaching an hour of deliberation. This is going to be potentially a 3-hour stream. I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't do that. I will not be playing the Borat music tonight. I've always waited for my time to go at Gary Line. Tonight was the night. I'm really happy about that. Yeah, Chris, I agree. The longer this goes, the longer you think we're a shot at a fine. Yeah. This usually happens. It's like they don't want to give us the win. They really don't want to give us the win, but they eventually just cave. Frankie. Very good. Yeah, very, very good. Benny, would you rather beat Collingwood or St Kilda? Why can't we beat them both, is what I say. I believe we play them both twice. Was up, infidels. Beating St Kilda means more. I disagree. I still think beating Collingwood would mean more. I think we would be pretty pissed off to lose to St Kilda. But I think it hurts more as like it's in the DNA. Every loss to Collingwood hurts. Even if you haven't grown up with this real rivalry. I never went to the big Collingwood-Carlton finals. I was at the Collingwood-Carlton 2022 game where they broke our hearts. So I have a little bit of A little bit of stain there. Our lawyer is about to have the same number of wins as in 2026 as the players. Yeah. We're still going. We're still going. Three lashes with Mark's belt for Hayward and free to play. Can I just say that was, yeah, one of the funnier moments. Right up there with medals. I think Mark has and owns at least 3 or 4 of the top 5 funniest moments I've ever experienced on the fan cams. Medals up there, like one of the funny, the clanking of the medals up there, the belt, Tolls with the cat or his dog scratching the floor, Kel with his dog that was choking on a fur ball. I think that was last year. Yeah. Yes, Eric, it's still going. It's still going. Can't be far away. Can't take Frankie Evans serious. He's a pensioner going. He reminds me of like those guys that play at the YMCA. They play basketball. They wear the knee pads and the elbow pads. Yeah. Oh yeah, Dione, your dog tried to get in on the fan cams this week. That's right. Guy eating the souvlaki before opening round. Oh yeah. Wait, who was that? Who was that? Who was eating the souvlaki? Was it Mark? What fan cams? I have a feeling Tolls was on, I reckon it was a Collingwood game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a Collingwood game. I reckon it was, yeah, it was Collingwood. It was definitely Collingwood. Do I remember the time, the one rating show when Pom called Frank the Tank the human Viagra? I still call him that to this day. Yeah. Yeah, the fur ball was just, this animal was dying. I thought this animal was dying. Who was eating the souvlaki? I should know this because it was recent. Game day or teams? Oh, who was eating the souvlaki? I think that was Vince. Vince was eating the souvlaki. That's right. Yeah. That might have been game day. Yeah. Or teams. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Best fan cams was Paul watching the players walk to the bus. Was that opening round 2024? And people were calling in singing Country Road when we beat them by, Harry Mackay kicked the game-winning goal after the siren. Was that night? Dominator, you got more entertainment from this stream than the first month of the season. Lol. Thanks, mate. There was a young guy with a dog so there's been 2 dog situations. One was Tolls, and I remember hearing like some scratching in the background. And also, mind you, it was probably over the 2-hour mark. Things get delirious after 2 hours, nearly 3 hours. That was Tolls, and then there was Kel. Kel is in the chat, CFC ahead, and he has the tattoo of the monogram on his head. And I remember there was a dog. It sounded like a dog was coughing. Yeah. Steak on the fan cams. Yeah, Joe cooking steak on the fan cams after we beat Geelong. Paulette, Baggers, are we ready to stand united in the face of all this crap being thrown at us? They will expect us to give them content by our criticism. Let's get behind our club. You know what, Paulette? You are so right. You are so right. Imagine we turned our attention onto the mainstream media who actually write these articles on their big platforms and ask our club questions like the coach narrative every week. Imagine that. Kel's dog sadly passed away. Really? That is sad. That is a really, really sad piece of news. Wow. Who was heating up their lasagna at work that one time? So that was actually, it's funny you mentioned that. That was the first time we did a Tribunal stream, I'm pretty sure. I think. Either that or it was the Patrick Cripps one. And that was Tory. And that was the night that the besties, I guess that I met the girls, and then one conversation led to another and the besties was born. Yeah, that was Tori when she was working. All right, we are 1 hour, 54 minutes of deliberation officially. Come on. Tribunal still deliberating. What's the longest session of the fan cams you've done? It was the one that just happened. The last two fan cams are the longest fan cams that have ever happened. Crossed over 4 hours a few times last year. Last week was the longest, and then this week was the longest again. It's quite sad. Sleeping on the fan cam still has me in stitches. Yeah. Mark will go down in folklore as honestly one of the best things to ever happen to the fan games. Funnily enough, Mark was also the very first person on a fan cam video on this channel. When fan cam started, it was done outside the stadium, pre-recorded, and if you go to the Blue Broad YouTube channel, the very first video on this channel is Mark with me. Now, Chills. This round will be the first time this season that all teams play. Polar, fuck them. I'm jumping back on the Voss train. Wow. See, this is the thing, though. We need the spark. I think we have the spark, but we need the win. Like, we need them to, do the thing. We've got the vibes turned around, but we need the win. And then it just, ignites, and then it's flame on. We sometimes find the spark, but the win never comes when we need it. We need to bring it as fans, like we did in 2023. It was fan-driven that year. We gave the player pride and bravery. Well, it was faded, so did their skills. So I actually think the players started it with Gold Coast. They got into the hole. It was disgusting, and they were fucking spat on, and they were shouted at. It was rock bottom, so bad. And then it was the players must start it. We will amplify the players. They provide the spark. They get the result. The fans jump on it, and then boom, away you go. Webby, 1 hour is the average with these things. Yeah, for the deliberation time, no doubt. All right. Oh, Will Hayward's ban has been upheld. He will miss this week's game against Adelaide. Wow. It's a massive precedent that has been set tonight. I don't think they realize someone is going to do this in this season, and they're going to overturn it, and they're going to change the precedent, and we are going to be absolutely livid about it. I guarantee it. Will Hayward's ban has been upheld. He will miss this week's game against Adelaide. Flynn Young will be in AFL 8 watch. Jen, can I play the clip that you sent me? I will remind me on the team show tomorrow. I'll play it there. There you go. Appeal? Well, I don't know. If you appeal it, that takes it till tomorrow. Yeah. The coughing dog was the teams Carlton versus Melbourne, 17th of July at 1 hour, 5 minutes, 40. There you go. All right. Interesting. Someone said it earlier, every time we've taken this to a tribunal and we end up winning the tribunal, we lose the next game. So in a roundabout way, Will has to copy his whack. He was undisciplined and he put himself in that situation. And let's be honest, we were trying to get him off what he was already suspended for. And now he's let the team down. Now he's got to have a week. Take a deep breath. He's let down his new teammates. There's no better way for him to redeem himself than putting in a shift and getting ready for Collingwood and helping us win the game. Kick 4 against Collingwood, go down in folklore because everyone remembers when you play well in those games. Help us beat Collingwood, and yeah, but it's disappointing. Anyway, yeah, after all that, we were so up and about and inspired. Nah, fuck it, I'm still inspired. That was fun. The real, 100%. I can see it. Someone is going to go to spoil a ball, bump a guy while he's kicking it, and they're going to say it's a football act and it's against the guidelines, and we're going to say that it's inconsistent, and we'll be right. Anyway, guys, I'm off. I might go pop into the boys if they're still live on Footy Abroad. Otherwise, go well. Oh, you know what? Just maybe one more time.
About keeping the same goat squeal, but instead of seeing the goat, show Gary on the stretcher. Oh. What an enormous idea. What a...
All right, much love. See you soon. Go Blues.